Welcome to the Coaching Business Secrets podcast. I'm Mark Blumley, and as always, thank you for joining me. It's so good to have you along once again. Today, I'm going to be talking about building a personal training business. In particular, what are the key elements we really need to have in place for a solid personal training business? And this doesn't just apply to personal trainers. This applies to coaches in general. And what I want to focus on is really four key elements today. And what I want you to take away is those four key elements, put them in place and make sure, and that's what's going to make sure you have a really successful, solid personal training or coaching business. So let's dive in. So the first thing we need to think about as a personal trainer or a coach is the actual service that we're delivering. This is something that we should do right in the beginning of our business. It's what is your unique selling point? So that might be, as a personal trainer, for instance, you might work with weight loss. And how are we going to deliver the results for those clients? Like what's the process or the systems that we need to have in place that each client is going to go through to get the results that you've promised them right in the beginning? And that's not something that we do too often as personal trainers or coaches, is to actually really suss that out, really go through and say, this is what I do, this is how I do it. And that's what I'm trying to get at here. This is how I do it. Once you've defined how you do something, it's about maintaining the quality of service that you deliver. So this is how you essentially scale as well. If you can articulate how you deliver the service to your clients, then you can train someone up to do the same. If it's all in your head or it's never stated or it's really inconsistent, then it's really hard to articulate, and you probably won't articulate to someone how you expect the service to be delivered by someone else. That's where personal trainers get stuck in their businesses for life, or, as you know, they drop out. So that's really a key takeaway, is just make sure. I think what I want you to think about here is, as well, is McDonald's. McDonald's don't deliver the greatest quality in terms of their services, in terms of the standard of food. But one thing is absolutely sure, for sure, is that you know exactly what you're going to get. You know that they're going to provide a consistent service and product across the board, no matter what restaurant you're in. And that's really the key for you here today, is to take that away. You don't have to be the number one best trainer out there. If you are, great. But what you do need to be able to do is you need to provide consistency to your clients. And that's the key. What I found early on as a personal trainer, and this is where I got in trouble as well, is I would deliver outstanding service and delivery of sessions to clients in the very early days. If I had just, say, 6 clients, then I was delivering really high standards of service. If I got up to 20 clients, that standard of service slipped. My planning into each client slipped. I didn't have a system in place that I needed to follow that meant I was delivering a consistent experience to clients. So what happens then? You lose clients, and then you have to go back and redevelop the services and its consistency and all that sort of stuff. Number 2 is what's the model that we're going to be using for our personal training business or our coaching business? Are we a one-on-one coach? Are we a small group coach? Are we a large group coach? That's what's ultimately what I want you to define. Because if I find that what a lot of trainers do is really leave this undefined. They'll do some one-on-one stuff, and then they'll do larger group stuff. But from a long-term point of view, and if we're talking about being able to consistently bring people to us and articulate what we actually do, is that we need to be able to demonstrate, okay, this is this is us, this is our service, this is what we do, this is how much it costs. Do you want to join? It needs to be as simple as that. It's not, do you want to do some personal training, or do you want to come and join my boot camp, or do you want to do a mix of both? And no, you need to define what you are. Define your service, and it becomes so much more simple. In fact, if you look at those businesses that have done really well in the fitness industry recently, they have defined what they are. And generally, they're sort of that larger group training model. They're F45 or CrossFit, where you can jam as many people into a room as once. These are our times. That's when we're open. We might have one or two coaches, but generally this is what we do. We're in a large group, costs this amount per week. Do you want to join? You need to define that. The more you can define that, the easier the clients are going to be to find. It's an easier service to sell, and it's an easier lead generation system to develop as well. So define your model. Next one leads on from that. Once we know our service, we know our model, the next part is lead generation. So our goal here is to develop and consistently adapt a lead generation system around paid advertising that leads into our service. Our lead generation system is going to obviously include an introductory type offer, and we need to then run paid ads to a page that's selling that key offer, and we're bringing those leads into our system, and hopefully we're going to sell them on as new clients. That's essentially what lead generation is all about. The reason why we want to define the model first and the service first is because that's going to define what we're actually going to sell through our paid advertising. So we want to first obviously develop a lead generation system on the front end. Once we've developed that and we've found something that works, it's just a matter of continuing to adapt that lead generation system. You can't continue to run the same ads over and over again, and over time, and it could take 3 months, could take 6 months, could take 12 months. Over time, those ads are going to run stale, and they're not going to get the same results that they did initially. So literally, it's a matter of adapting those, and what that means, changing headlines, changing videos, and that's essentially it. Generally, your lead capture pages, they will continue to see results. If they get results initially, they will continue to see results over time as well. So, lead generation, that's what you need first. That's the next thing that you need to have really well established. And the last one is the sales and follow-up process. So how are you going to follow up with the new leads that you're bringing in, and also the clients that you're signing up through the process as well? So it's no good to just be generating leads. You need to be continuing to bring them in, whether it's on the phone or face-to-face. You're actually meeting with them, bringing them in, and they're getting that initial contact with you. They sign, yes, no. What's your follow-up process after they say no? What's the follow-up process after they say yes? Having this process defined and continuing to improve this process is what makes you so much more profitable long-term as well. So really, those are the key areas that you need to focus on to develop a really solid personal training or coaching business. So if we look at this from a funnel perspective, we've got initially we need a lead generation process or a lead generation system, something that's predictable in the leads that are going to be coming through the door and therefore into our business. From there, we need a predictable system around how we follow up with clients and sell clients. Having that really, really good structure and process in place enables us to close more sales and to adapt our system over time as well. From there, we then have our service delivered consistently. Consistently delivered service consistently gets results for clients, but it also improves attrition of clients as well. If clients know exactly what they're going to get, they know how it's going to be delivered, and it can be delivered by anyone else as well, not just you, but it can be delivered by anyone else as well. If that consistency is there, then ultimately they're going to hang around for longer as well. That's the keys. That's the keys to building a really strong personal training business or coaching business. That wraps up for today. Thank you for joining me. I do have a free webinar coming up really soon. I'd love you to join me. This is how to grow and scale your PT business. It's similar to what we've been over today, but what I'm going to go over is I've created 3 levels where I see clients consistently get stuck at 3 different levels, and what are the key things that you need to focus on at each level to push through to the next. It's really great content, guys. You'll get so much out of it. Just click through. There should be a link in this video or the podcast to go straight through that webinar and register. If not, you can go to my website, markblomley.com.au, and register straight away for that as well. You'll see a link on the website to be able to register. Thanks again for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you soon.